What did your wife say when
Dude,
you
I
told
don't
her you
think
went into Ovidio's house?
I don't think we even had much time to really think about it, or for her or my family to actually think about it. Like, I woke up that morning when they captured a video, and 3 days later, I was booking shit tons of flights to Culiacan while dealing with security and legal departments on my way to Culiacan. So that was like a super like fast paced move.
Did you anticipate actually going into his house? Was that like on your mind before you flew down there?
Not really. You know, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to that town where they capture him, to Jesus Maria, trying to understand what the neighbors lived, you know, because apparently what I've heard that back then was that the gunfight lasted for like 10 hours, and that there was a lot of people disappeared, a bunch of kids killed. So I wanted to report like on the ground what happened in that town. Never really thought about, you know, breaking in Ovidio's house.
Yeah, and it's just something that you kind of thought spur of the moment, like, hey, this is good content.
Yes, I mean, yeah, sort of. Like more than that, I think when I arrived there, I was expecting a like military presence, probably other journalists, you know, like taking photos or doing like some reporting. But instead of that, I got like everything was fucking empty. So the sicarios were already taking the place back. So they had set up like different checkpoints. They were like circling around their motorcycles. And then I met Ovidio's mom and his attorneys. And when they left, well, that's what actually sparked first my idea, right? Because I thought like, wow, this is Ovidio's mom. I might ask her for permission to go in the house because they were just coming out the house. But they were not friendly at all, man. I mean,
so you met Chapo's mother. You met Chapo's. No, I'm sorry, Chapo's wife, I guess.
Chapo's former wife. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Wife, was that wife number one?
No, I think she was the wife before Emma Coronel, the one he has now, the one who's also in jail. But also Griselda Lopez is flagged by the U.S. Department of Treasury as a crucial key, like a key player for the Sinaloa cartel. So I have seen her photo before. That's how I knew that was Griselda Lopez.
Wow. So she's Chapo's first wife. Ovidio's mother is probably a player or had something to do being active with the cartel is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, literally what the U.S. says is that she has been helping the Sinaloa cartel to keep their operations with like her, I think it's like, basically they're accusing of like money laundering for the Sinaloa cartel.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what you would use like a woman for, not wet work, not trafficking, but you know, as a bag lady, right?
Yes, exactly. I think that's a role that the U.S. allege that she's playing. But my sources said that she was actually in the house when the Mexican military raided the place. Apparently, she and three of Ovidio's daughters, his three daughters, were like extracted from the place, and I guess it took her a couple of days to be back in the house, and they were taking photos. I'm pretty sure they were taking photos from all the stuff that was missing from Ovidio's house.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And so so she caught you guys. It was her and her bodyguard or somebody, her driver.
Yeah, it was her and two of the Ovidio attorneys. So I think those two guys were working for Ovidio, trying to get him out of jail.
Right.
And they're gonna sue the Mexican government. So yeah.
For what? For coming into the house with kids there?
Yeah, I think what they're gonna sue is for abuse of power, because they literally shot at all of the town, including kids. Old women, elder people, you know, like they shot all the fucking town from the sky down. If you go into the houses, you can see like many of the ceilings, a lot of the walls. Washing machine was all riddled with bullets. So they literally started just like trying to kill the whole fucking town. And they entered Ovidio's house when his 3 young daughters were in. And also they looted the fucking place, man. You could see the Rolex boxes open with a bunch of like missing jewelry, missing watches.
Yeah.
So they took everything.
No, that surprises nobody if you know Mexican police or Mexican military.
Exactly.
So I remember seeing, when all those clips started coming out, there was a helicopter. It was an amateur footage of a helicopter from the sky, and you just see these orange streaks across the dark sky, just shooting down. Bam, 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 bam. Would that probably have been in the town shooting at his house?
Town.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That was in the town. They not only shot Ovidio's house, they literally shot the whole town. It's a small town. I think there's like 2,000 people living there. So it's really a very small town. And they destroyed every single car in the town, every single window. They asked everybody from the town to step out of their houses and leave for 2 days before they could come back to their places. And they looted like some of the places. These old man living right next to Ovidio in a very humble house, he was telling me that the military stole his deodorant and some teacups, some tennis shoes. He's like, why would they want my fucking deodorant, man? Like, he was super angry, man.
What was the casualty count? What is the civilian casualty count? What was the cartel casualty count? And then what about the military?
Well, the official count is around 29 people. 19 of them allegedly sicarios for the Sinaloa cartel, and then 10 of them Mexican military officers. But the people from Jesus Maria is saying that the casualties are above 100, 120. That's without counting for the missing person. There's a lot of missing kids, young kids.
Oh my God. Were they kidnapped? Were they just dead and rotting in the mountain? Or how could all those kids go missing?
I think that's definitely a possibility. What people believe is that they took these kids thinking probably that they were sicarios or something. But we're talking about like 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. And they grab them and probably kill them and throw them out in the mountains. There is a group called Buscadoras, the searchers, probably. That's what it will translate. And they search in Sinaloa for missing people, and they usually find dead bodies that have been buried underground. So they just recently started the search for all the people that got disappeared from Ovidio's operation the Mexican military operation to capture Ovidio.
Wow. So you could just snatch, as many kids as you can get your hands on. And this is an organized raid from the top. This is the highest command in Mexico is ordering this raid. And they're stealing old man's deodorant, and they're basically massacring children and dumping them in the mountains.
Exactly. That's what is like completely, like weird for the local residents. They feel like they captured Ovidio within the first 10 minutes of the operation, but they kept fighting or at least shooting down the town for 10 hours, which is, why the fuck did they do that, right? It's just so weird.
Isn't it because the sicarios came out and started engaging them?
Yes, the sicarios came out trying to stop the Mexican military from taking Ovidio. But he was out after 10 minutes. He was already flying in a chopper from Sinaloa to Mexico City. I guess the Mexican military could have also just like stopped and leave, right?
Yeah. That level of brutality. It kind of reminds you of the 80s and the massacres in, Nicaragua and El Salvador, like the massacre at El Mozote and stuff like that. Using like the communist guerrilla fighters as like a pretext to just slaughter people. That's kind of, this raid has hints of that.
Yes, definitely, man. It really is shameful that the Mexican government, like basically ransacked the whole town, knowing that there were like a bunch of old people, a bunch of families, kids. That Ovidio himself, I know he's a criminal. I know he's part of probably the biggest criminal organization out there. But he also had three daughters, 3, 6, and 12, sleeping inside his house. And when the Mexican army says they did a clean operation, because that's how they labeled this operation, it was a clean operation. I mean, it was up to Ovidio's capture. But the aftermath was, in my opinion, was absolutely unnecessary. I think they went with the thinking that the whole town was just of sicarios, right? Like every single one in Jesus Maria is a sicario.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Why? Why now? Why Ovidio? What happened? What's really going on?
I think Ovidio had it coming, man. As you remember from Culiacan is a small town. It's a great city, but it's a small city. And Los Chapitos got a hold of the city after El Chapo Guzman got extradited in 2017. Ever since they became, like the lords of Culiacan. And even on top of Mayo Zambada, one of the original founders of the Sinaloa Cartel, probably the oldest drug lord inside the Sinaloa Cartel. And so they were very flashy. They were putting themselves out there too much. And when Ovidio got married, I think he got married in 2000. I can't remember, but probably around that same year, 16, probably 17. And they closed like 2 or 3 blocks from the church where he was getting married with his henchmen, with sicarios, basically, to have a happy wedding on the church, right? So that was very flashy. That was too in the face of the Mexican government. There's also rumors that they became hyper violent against, like the regular citizen in Culiacan, which hasn't happened before. So I guess that's what they tried to capture him in 2019 for the first time in a shameful operation that basically the sicarios forced the Mexican government to release Ovidio after, making like blockages, burning buses, cars, breaking like 100 people from the local prison to fight against the Mexican military. And at the end, what they did is they sprayed gasoline on the house of the families of the Mexican militaries participating in the operation, and threatened to just like burn everybody inside those houses if they didn't let Ovidio go. So yes, they twisted an arm of the government.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Luis, we love having you on as usual. We're glad you're in America, safe. God bless this country. God bless Mexico. Follow Luis on Instagram, first of all. What's your Instagram?
It's at Luis Kuriaki. It's a bit tricky because it's Kuryyki, Kuriaki.
Yes, and Luis Chaparro on YouTube, correct?
On YouTube, yes. That's easy. And then, that's easy. Yeah.
And then do you have anything else like your newsletter or your Patreon? And your book, of course. You got to plug your book too, right?
Yeah, man. I actually have my original copy right here. If you go to my website, L as my first initial, and then Chaparro, you'll see this photo book, which is called A Year Reporting Inside the Narco World. This is for all 2022, and you have all sorts of different photos from inside criminal organizations working with human trafficking, drug trafficking, cartel, sicarios, and a beautiful photo of myself holding an Uzi.
That's right. And fun fact, producer Brian and myself were sitting 2 feet away from him when he was holding that thing.
There was a point where I actually pointed the fucking Uzi to these guys, and the guy on my right was like, just take the charger off, because
yeah. Some cartel guys were very nice. They said, I'm gonna have to ask you to go ahead and point that thing to the floor. Luis.
Yes, exactly.
Hey guys, if you like that video, make sure to check out the full episode right here and subscribe to the channel right here.